Absolutely stunning information today, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking about Iapetus, who is a Titan, son of Uranus and Gaia. Son of Uranus and Gaia, that is the primordial beings that created the heavens and earth. His name derives from the Greek word meaning to pierce, usually with a spear. Therefore, Iapetus may have been considered as the god of craftsmanship, although other sources cite him as the god of mortality. I know where he is. There he is right there. He is Titan's moon. And guess what, my friends? That is a part of a creature's body. Some people say that's no moon, it's a space station. They can say whatever they want, but that right there, my friend, is a tendon enthesis attachment point. And I will show it to you in anatomical, biological terms. I'm just going to show you a couple samples. This is the way these stone balls are formed. They're like onions. Now this is a stone ball that's eroded and cracked the top, but that's the seam, and it just has eroded because, you know, it's the time. Now you have those attachments here. They're little round attachments. You see the dark and the light? That's the blood vein and the artery blood. Everything has to be serviced with blood. That's the key to mud fossils. If you can't find the blood vessels, you have no claim. Now here on Earth, they're quite gigantic too. This was in a quarry they were digging. That is the tendon enthesis. And there's other ones here. You can see them. They come in clusters. There are dozens and dozens of them per enthesis. It depends on where they are in the body, which structural area they are in, and how there is ligament balls and there's tendon balls and there's different locations in the body where they have different internal structures. Now that one has like a webbing inside after the external part eroded. Now I'll show you other ones that don't have that. Now that's a stone ball, and this is the style that has these little blocky chunks inside. They didn't carve these for seats. They're made in the ball themselves. And that's exactly what you were just seeing. This was sent to me by a friend, Lee Simpson. This is an eroded ball. Now, this is what I have a book coming out shortly that's going to try to explain all of the different interactions with the types of chemistry, the geology, the geothermal, the solvomorphism, all the whole 9 yards. Because it's biology, it's chemistry, it's anatomy, it's conditions, there's a ton of, it's everything. It's even electricity. But I've been doing this a long time, and I do understand these things now. So I'm going to give it a beginning book to say this is how these things originate, and this is how it all started, and this is the whole deal, and take it from there. And then, you know, we'll all learn after that, because I don't have every answer, but I got a lot of them. And thank God they never picked up on this at Yale. He refused to look at them. And if he had, it would be disaster now. It's kind of hard to see, but these are where those attachments are. There would have been that stalk would have come up into here. That's the ball, just exactly like Iapetus, the moon on Saturn. See, there's another one. Remember that big one was sticking up on the stalks, cracked right there? They're all over the Earth. Some, when they're in the skin, there's just thousands of them everywhere. They're called interstitium. They're ball clays. But in other areas, they come in. Well, let me show you the biology. All right, you see that? That was skin. This is skin. Now, there would have been a layer over the top of this, which would have been the kaolin clay. It's a fine, erodible, dusty clay. That's gone. Underneath here is the basement. It's not completely a basement layer, but it's part of this interstitium, which sat right underneath these ball clays. They all had straps, and they give the skin the ability to flex and come back to shape. And then after it all eroded away, all the balls are here. These are like hematite little balls. Mostly they contain a lot of iron, well, hematite and different minerals, but and different. They will have different chemistry dependent upon the conditions that they were preserved in. Let me put it that way, because the conditions are everything. If there's a high pH, low pH, geothermal, or there's so much. The book will explain it all. By the way, I'll throw this in here now. I'm just happen to be here. Stonehenge, that's the foot. It's called the heel stone. That's the foot of a giant. 100% guaranteed. foot of a giant. I've looked at it from every angle. I know what's underneath here, the shape, the size, the length, the dimensions, the pads in the bottom of the feet. It's a foot. It's called the heel stone for a reason. That's Stonehenge. And another thing, my little friends, every single stone at Stonehenge is a little bit and piece of a giant's body. Okay, this is the way tendons develop in your body. They start to grow, they mineralize, and then they get really spiky and tough and just fibrous and strong, and those are the anchors. They're anchors. Now, around them, though, they have to be buffered from the rest of your body, because otherwise this mineralized stuff would tear holes through your skin and your bones and everything else. So there's like a gooey area around it that sort of it floats in. And that can cause problems and issues. And if you pull these out or break these straps, it's very painful. But there is a series of them in every location. All right, these are how your body holds itself together. Everything anchors. Your muscles and your tendons and all that stuff is anchored from bones to muscles to another location, so you can pull back and forth and do all the mechanical things that you do with your body. So how do your bones hang together? Because otherwise, if you took, there's an enthesis. A ligament. Ligaments attach bone to bone. You see this little thing here? This little thing here? Well, wait, I got a bone right here. Hold on. All right, this is a Mudfossil bone. And the bones are complete, totally just like it would be in your body. And the membrane kept it from getting destroyed. Of course, it's broken here. And the bones get destroyed because, see here? That's all that's left of the bone, that little tiny fragment right there. They transition. So what I want to show you, though, is this spot right here. You see that hole? Let me see if you can see the... Oh, there we go. That's a better shot. See that in that cavity right there? Oops, can't see. I'm trying to reach in front of the camera. That little hole is where the ligament hangs in there. So there's a ball in here, and there's a tiny little stalk, and there's another ball just like this in another bone that's stuck to it. They can move this way and that way and so forth, but they cannot come apart. And that's why you don't fall apart. And you can really get torn, and you don't fall apart. They will not unlatch. And they won't even unlatch until today, because there is one over there in India somewhere, I think it is, that's called Krishna's butterball. It's just like sticking up out of the ground a stalk with a ball on it. It would be the same thing that was in here, only sticking up, and that ball is still in the air. And I'll show you another one that happens to be in outer space that broke completely out of the bone. It's that new Ultima Thule. It's outer space. I'm telling you, this is just over the top, my friends. So we know this, what I was showing you right there is these balls that are inside the bones. And that's what holds bones together. Then you have inside of the bones going up to your tendon, your muscles and so forth. And then they have them flat in your torso and so forth to keep let everything pull back and forth and stretch. And then they have them all in your skin, which keeps the skin in a plasticky, movable, flexible, and returnable condition. Some, I showed you the ones that have all those blocky natures. Some of them are like this. It's amazing what's inside your body. Now, this is what we're seeing, these are called abrupt transitions, where you go from the mineralized ball into the stalks that hold them in position and so forth. That's what's called the abrupt transition. They break right off there. Sometimes you can't hardly even see it. Sometimes you see that little round where it was stuck there. Okay, I showed you the ligament. That's a ligament right there. It would have been right in that ball, in that hole, and it would have been snapped right into there. And then the other one was in the other, like this is a guy's leg or something down here, and the whole thing was moving around. Well, these are so tough, that connection between this ball and the ball that's in the ground, that you can't hardly break these. There is a zillion fibers in there. Now, Krishna's butterball over in India or somewhere, it's very similar to this. You don't see all these bumps because it was from a tendon instead of a ligament. The ligaments have the balls on the outside, the tendons have the balls on the inside. but it's a chunk, just like this, sticking up. They 12 elephants, they couldn't push it over. So it's still there today. They were afraid it's going to get hurt. They can't get it over. Yeah, well, leave it there. And they have to because they can't knock it over. All right. You've heard the saying, balls to the walls. They're in the walls in China and in the walls everywhere. These balls are sticking out here. They hold the skin in place. And now the kaolin skin has eroded away partially. I showed you that whole field of all those balls. Eventually it'll erode and the balls will be the last thing left. They are the tough ones. And guess where they else are? They're on Mars. You see that? That's Mars. This is underneath the skin. These are the balls. These are the straps. On Mars, there is so little erosion that it's just finely removing the kaolin clays, leaving the straps and the balls. On Earth, the straps also erode because those are weak. But on Mars, they don't erode. That's Mars. They call it the Mars-Morse code. These are huge. I'm telling you, there's not one thing that is not life anywhere. All the meteors, everything. They say when they go out in space, it smells like steak. I mean, that's just, it smells like uncooked meat. Alpha Comet 67P, I've done extensive research on that. The chemistry is identical. The molecules coming off are so organic, they say they can't even give it a name. They're very, very organic. Carbonaceous beyond belief, which is exactly identical to chemistry. I've seen it. I know exactly what the chemistry is there, and the chemistry there is life. And this is life too. And this is the stretch part right here of this interstitium skin, pulling these, and this is the skin pushed together here. And this is the skin pulled apart. On Mars, that's skin. I think I've made my case. Alright, so back to the titans in space. There's Mr. Iapetus. Stay with Mudfossil University. Learn the real truth in life. People can't get their head around this, so they are just so upset. They turn in their eyes to the ground and just and walking around in circles. I'm sorry, you don't do that. Don't do that.